I heard it. It's on. Nothing bad.
All right, let's do 5 minutes at 1:40. You guys know this deal, right? Okay. All right.
Starts with me on line 4.
On line 4.
How far from the front of the store was he?
He was in the rear of the store in the patio department. In terms of yardage, I would have to really see a plan of the floor, but I would estimate 150 yards to 200 yards.
Is there another point of exit in the store other than that which the defendant took?
Yes, the patio exit.
The patio exit?
Yes.
Where would that be in relation to where he was loading the cigarettes?
Well, he was standing in front of that exit. In essence, the patio has an exterior portion and an interior portion there. He was looking at the employee standing in the exterior portion of that department.
Did he do anything as he was walking out of the store?
Did I do anything?
Yes.
Upon exiting from the front?
Right.
Well, he turned around and he flipped me off. That's it. That's about it. He did that then.
What did he do with the cart, with the shopping cart?
Oh, the cart? Which cart? There was one containing an empty trash can, and there was one that was full of cigarettes.
What did he do with the trash can full of cigarettes?
Abandoned it in the furniture department on his way to the front.
And what did he do with the cart with the trash can in it?
With the trash can?
Yes.
Went to the front and went up to the service desk and said, I would like to exchange this can for the one I brought in. He had brought in an empty one with him when he came in the store.
Now, Mr. Centeno, on August 29, 1983, did you go to Ventura?
Yes, I did.
And would you please tell us why?
Objection, relevancy.
People?
Your Honor, it's relevant in establishing an MO in this case. The witness was called to Ventura, Your Honor, to identify the suspects that he had observed in the store through a photo lineup, and I anticipate that he will testify to the other occasions in which a similar transaction took place in various Kmart stores. It also bears on his identification of the witnesses on a future occasion.
Is he a witness with respect to count 1 and 3?
Yes, Your Honor.
The objection is overruled.
Thank you. What was the purpose of that trip to Ventura?
The purpose of the trip to Ventura was to identify the two suspects I had seen on that first occasion, which I did. There were several other security personnel from Kmart's from the greater Los Angeles area, including Ventura, present at this photo lineup. All were there with the intent to identify a man that they...
Objection, Your Honor. Speculating as to the others.
Objection overruled. Everything with respect to the intent is stricken, yes.
Your Honor, at this point, I object to this line of questioning on a 352. It is more prejudicial than probative, Your Honor, and the people have not laid a foundation about the MO yet.
They have not asked any questions yet. Your objection is overruled at this time, Mr. Santana.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. Now, Mr. Centeno, calling your attention to the date of September 18, 1983, were you also employed as a security guard at the Kmart located at 5565 North Rosemead?
5665.
Thank you. And on that date, did you see the defendant, Mr. Fatolahi, in the Kmart?
Yes, I did.
And what were the circumstances surrounding that?
I observed the subject up in the front of the Kmart by the cigarette area. I immediately recognized him, and I noted that he had a shopping cart containing, I would say, over 20 cartons of cigarettes in the lower portion of the cart. He was pushing it, zigzagging in the front part of the aisles by the cigarette display. I also observed another subject with him.
I object to that, Your Honor. He did not answer the question put to him by the people.
I believe the question was, what did you observe? The objection is overruled.
Thank you.
What did you observe after you saw him zigzagging through the aisles?
He proceeded through the patio. All right, that was 5 minutes. How'd we do?
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. All right, let's do one at 5 minutes at 1:50 now.
That's probably how you got that knot on your head. Zigzagging around.
Thanks for bringing it up.
Sorry.
Trying to get to work.
Okay. Okay, so where we're starting?
Let's start on line 2. 5 minutes at 1:50 now.
All right.
Oh, sorry. 16.
No, we're not. Okay, here we go. Was he still pushing that cart full of cigarettes?
Yes, he was.
Then what did he do?
He went to the inside patio department, approximately where I had observed him on the first occasion in the same aisle, and he began to load cigarettes into the trash can, cartons of cigarettes into the trash cans then.
Your Honor, may the witness leave the stand to draw a diagram of the Kmart store?
Yes.
Thank you.
It is right here. Would you prefer that I explain it right here?
Yes, please.
This is the front main exit, and the entrance is right here.
Right on there, main exit.
This is the patio exit right in here.
Would you draw the exits in another color for us, say orange or red?
Okay, this is the building materials exit in here.
Now, would you put an X where the defendant was when you observed him loading the cigarettes? Thank you.
Objection, Your Honor. Could she specify which defendant?
I understand that you are referring to Mr. Fatolahi, right?
Yes, I am referring to defendant Fatolahi. Now, would you indicate where he was with an X, and where would that be for the record?
This is the inside patio department. There is an adjoining window here. There are large, like picture windows. This is a doorway right in here.
Would you mark the windows with a W? And where were you when the defendant Fatolahi, was loading the cigarettes in the cart?
Objection, leading.
Objection overruled.
On the second occasion or the first occasion?
On the 18th of September, the second occasion.
I was in the automotive department observing him.
On September the 18th, while the defendant was loading the cigarettes, and while the defendant Fatolahi was loading the cigarettes into the shopping cart, was he alone?
Objection calls for speculation.
Calls for speculation, Mr. Santana?
Yes.
The objection is overruled without comment.
On neither occasion was he alone.
How many other persons did you see near him?
One other person.
Do you see that other person here in court today?
Yes, I do.
Would you please point to him and describe him for the record?
Yes, the man there in the black man with the mustache right there.
Indicating Mr. Beasley for the record.
Yes.
And was Mr. Beasley doing anything
Mr. Beasley also had a cart with cigarettes in it, and he had a trash can in front of it also, and he appeared to be placing objects in the trash can.
And was there a trash can in defendant Fatolahi's cart also?
Yes, there was.
So they each had a trash can in their cart, and they each had their own shopping cart?
Yes, they did.
What did you observe defendant Beasley to do, if anything, after he loaded the cigarettes into his cart?
What did I see him do?
Yes.
He remained in the patio area, to my recollection. I went out of the store to await his leaving.
So are you saying that he left the area where the cigarettes were and pushed his cart to the patio?
Leading, Your Honor.
Objection overruled.
He remained with the cart in the patio area. Was that your question?
Maybe I'm a little confused. Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes.
Is the patio area this box here?
Yes, this is the interior patio as well. This also has patio materials, indoor plants, and that sort of thing.
So what was it again that he did?
He remained in this general area.
Would you put a blue X to indicate where defendant Beasley was when he was loading the cigarettes?
He was in the same aisle.
Did he remain in that area after he loaded his cart with cigarettes?
Objection, Your Honor. Leading again. It is leading as to the latter part of the question.
Objection overruled.
He remained in the general area.
And did you observe the other person, defendant Fatolahi, to do anything at that time?
They both were in the same area when I left. I exited the store at this point after they had completed loading their trash cans.
Thank you. Which exit did you use?
I went out the main exit and proceeded to the corner of the building.
Why did you go to the corner of the building?
Why?
Yes.
I wanted to see the two main exits. All right, so let's go to the next transcript for 160.
Next transcript.
All right, let's do, was that one better?
They don't like Fatolahi.
They were writing something else.
Okay, where?
All right, let's do 160 now for 5 minutes.
Okay.
All right. And this one looks like it's going to be a click every slash. Is this one? Oh, but some of the slashes are hard to see.
What'd you do to slashes?
Every slash?
Oh, I see.
Either it's,
Because it almost looks like it was just,
yeah, Cindy probably did that.
yeah.
All right, 5 minutes at 150. It looks like it starts on line 15
Okay.
with you. Ready?
He was not in the room at the time. Where was he? Do you know?
He was in the restroom.
Thank you. Where was Mrs. Elkins sitting?
She was sitting on the couch.
And does the couch face the television?
The couch is alongside the side wall.
Okay, and how far in terms of feet was Mrs. Elkins away from where the car hit the wall?
Probably about 8 feet.
Okay, and what about Terry Walker? Where was she sitting?
She was sitting a little closer. She was probably sitting around 5-6 feet.
She was sitting 5 or 6 feet from...
The TV.
Okay, so would that be 5 or 6 feet from where the car hit the wall?
Approximately, maybe a little more.
Was she sitting in the chair or something?
She was sitting on the same couch.
Okay, so where were you sitting? On the couch too?
Uh-huh.
Now, picture in your mind where that car hit the wall.
Uh-huh.
Was Terry Walker closer to that point than you were?
Yes.
By how many feet closer was she than you?
I don't know, probably 2, 3 feet.
You told us that you could see the headlights of the car when it came through the wall.
You could see the light shining through.
Did you recognize which car that was?
No, not at the time.
Do you know whether or not Mr. Elkins has any guns in his house?
Yes,
Does he have guns?
yes.
How many do you know?
I know he has one, maybe more.
What was the first thing that happened after that car hit that wall and you saw those lights? Do you remember what happened?
We ran out of the room.
Did you see what Mr. Elkins did?
I believe he went and got his gun.
He did get his gun?
Yes,
And what kind of gun was it that Mr. Elkins got?
I believe it was a shotgun.
And when he got the gun, what did Mr. Elkins do?
He went out there with it.
Do you know what he did after that?
No,
Did he say anything when he left? Like, did he say he was going to shoot somebody or something?
no, he just ran out the back door and went around the side of the house.
A couple more questions. After Mr. Elkins left with the shotgun, did you see Mr. Elkins later on that night?
Yes,
Did he say anything to you about what happened?
no, I think we were both kind of in shock or daze, I guess.
Did he say whether or not he was going to shoot your husband?
No,
Did he make any threats against your husband that you heard?
not that I heard.
Now, can you tell us, picture in your mind one more time when that car hit the wall. Okay, how far away is that point from the driveway to the Elkins house?
It's right in front, right in front of the driveway, on the side of the driveway.
Like how many feet from the driveway would that be?
Less than a foot because the corner of the house is the driveway.
Okay, thank you. I don't have any further questions.
Any redirect?
Yes. Can you estimate how long after the last phone call, which Mr. Elkins handled it, was that the car hit the house?
10, 15 minutes, I don't recall.
Where was your husband living at that time?
On Hamilton Drive.
Is that here in Fairfield?
Yes,
How far from this house was it, approximately?
a mile.
Okay. Did you ever get a chance to look at the car that had hit the house, like later that night, the next morning, anytime?
Not until later.
Was it still there?
The car?
Yes.
No,
Where was it?
it was towed away.
Okay. So you didn't see it until after it was towed away?
Uh-huh.
And what type of car does your husband have?
A Volvo.
What year?
2000.
Did he have it that night?
Yes.
I have no other questions.
When you had that conversation with your husband on the telephone
Uh-huh.
and you told him that you weren't going to come home, did you tell him where you were going to stay that night?
It would be at Mr. Elkins' house.
Did you tell him that you were watching television?
No.
Did he ask you what you were doing at the house?
No.
Do you recall telling him what you were doing?
No.
Okay, my final question. When Mr. Elkins got off the phone talking to your husband, he told you that your husband said something about coming over with a gun?
Uh-huh.
Did Mr. Elkins say anything at that point about he'd better get a gun to protect him with or anything?
He said, let him come and that he would be prepared.
Okay, I don't have any further questions.
I have no other questions.
The TV was in the family room, is that correct?
Yes.
Were the lights on in the family room?
Yes.
All right, thank you. You may step down.
May she be excused? She needs to pick up a child.
All right, any objections?
No problem.
All right, you may be excused, Mrs. Fleming.
I call Mr. Elkins.
Okay, we did 6 minutes on that one just to get that colloquy. Let's do some speed building where we all talk. How about pages 18 and 19? This is, oh. And how did you have to do with 160? Good? Let's do it 160, 170, 160.
So 18
So-
and 19, so where are we stopping?
Let's stop after my answer
Okay,
on,
just go right back.
yeah, so we'll stop right there and start over.
Stop where?
On page 19, line 28, after I say no, we'll go back up to page 18, line 3.
Okay.
So we'll just do this page 3 times. All right? 160, 170, 160. Pardon me? Oh, I'm sorry, the very last one.
Very last, yeah. Oh, there's two.
All right?
Let's see if you said line 3 right.
Yes,
Yes.
please. All right, here we go. Little speed building.
Now, can you tell us, picture in your mind one more time when that car hit the wall? Okay, how far away is that point from the driveway to the Elkins house?
It's right in front, well, right in front of the driveway, on the side of the driveway.
Like, how many feet from the driveway would that be?
Less than a foot because the corner of the house is, from the house is the driveway.
Okay, thank you. I don't have any further questions.
Any redirect?
Yes. Can you estimate how long after the last phone call, which Mr. Elkins handled, it was that the car hit the house?
10, 15 minutes, I don't recall.
Where was your husband living at that time?
On Hamilton Drive.
Is that here in Fairfield?
Yes.
How far from this house was it approximately?
A mile.
Okay. Did you ever get a chance to look at the car that had hit the house, like later that night, the next morning, anytime?
Not until later.
Was it still there?
The car?
Yes.
No,
Where was it?
it was towed away.
Okay, so you didn't see it until after it was towed away?
Uh-huh.
And what type of car does your husband have?
A Volvo.
What year?
2000.
Did he have it that night?
Yes.
I have no other questions.
When you had that conversation with your husband on the telephone,
Uh-huh.
and you told him that you weren't going to come home, did you tell him where you were going to stay that night?
It would be at Mr. Elkins' house.
Did you tell him that you were watching television?
No.
Did he ask you what you were doing at the house?
No.
Now, can you tell us, picture in your mind one more time when that car hit the wall? Okay, how far away is that point from the driveway to the Elkins house?
It's right in front, well, right in front of the driveway, on the side of the driveway.
Like, how many feet from the driveway would that be?
Less than a foot because the corner of the house is, from the house is the driveway.
Okay, thank you. I don't have any further questions.
Any redirect?
Yes. Can you estimate how long after the last phone call, which Mr. Elkins handled it, was that the car hit the house?
10, 15 minutes, I don't recall.
Where was your husband living at that time?
On Hamilton Drive.
Is that here in Fairfield?
Yes.
How far from this house was it approximately?
A mile.
Okay. Did you ever get a chance to look at the car that had hit the house? Like later that night, the next morning, anytime?
Not until later.
Was it still there?
The car?
Yes.
No.
Where was it?
It was towed away.
Okay, so you didn't see it until after it was towed away?
Uh-huh.
And what type of car does your husband have?
A Volvo.
What year?
2000.
Did he have it that night?
Yes.
I have no other questions.
When you had that conversation with your husband on the telephone,
Uh-huh.
and you told him that you weren't going to come home, did you tell him where you were going to stay that night?
It would be at Mr. Elkins' house.
Did you tell him that you were watching television?
No.
Did he ask you what you were doing at the house?
No.
Now, can you tell us, picture in your mind one more time when that car hit the wall? Okay, how far away is that point from the driveway to the Elkins house?
It's right in front. Well, right in front of the driveway, on the side of the driveway.
Like, how many feet from the driveway would that be?
Less than a foot because the corner of the house is, from the house is the driveway.
Okay, thank you. I don't have any further questions.
Any redirect?
Yes. Can you estimate how long after the last phone call which Mr. Elkins handled it was that the car hit the house?
10, 15 minutes, I don't recall.
Where was your husband living at that time?
On Hamilton Drive.
Is that here in Fairfield?
Yes.
How far from this house was it approximately?
A mile.
Okay, did you ever get a chance to look at the car that had hit the house? Like later that night, the next morning?
Not
any time?
Not until later.
Was it still there?
The car?
Yes.
No.
Where was it?
It was towed away.
Okay, so you didn't see it until after it was towed away?
Uh-huh.
And what type of car does your husband have?
A Volvo.
What year?
2000.
Did he have it that night?
Yes.
I have no other questions.
When you had that conversation with your husband on the telephone
Uh-huh.
and you told him that you weren't going to come home, did you tell him where you were going to stay that night?
It would be at Mr. Elkins' house.
Did you tell him that you were watching television?
No.
Did he ask you what you were doing at the house?
No. I'm not All right, let's do our 160. Is everybody talk in the next, like, 4 pages, 5 pages?
Like it. We start right there. Oh,
We'll start on 21.
but 21?
Oh, what's the next page? Remember we did that colloquy? Yeah, let's start right there. Right, we didn't do that, did we?
The other guy can mess up.
She objects on 23, and then there's 4, and then, yeah, yep.
That'll work.
All right, so for 160, plaintiff attorney is Mr. Keeney, Keeenney. Defense is Mr. Schofield, Schofield. And we're going to talk to Harvey Elkins, sorry, Harveyelkins, Connecticut Street, Fairfield, Fair Field, one word. Bruce Fleming, Fleming. Kathleen Fleming, Kathleen. Kathy, Kathy. And
Shotgun.
insurance company, remember your shirk. And, excuse me, collision. And that's it, I'll stop us. All right. Today is 6:29. This is our 164 voice for 5 minutes.
I am plaintiff's attorney, Mr. Keeney, Keenney.
I am the witness.
I am the court.
I am for defense Mr. Schofield, Schofield.
Starts with me, 160, question by plaintiff's attorney. Ready? Would you state your name, please?
Harvey Elkins,
And where do you live, Mr. Elkins?
1313 Connecticut Street, Fairfield.
Are you acquainted with Bruce Fleming?
Yes.
Is he here today?
Yes.
Where is he located?
The defendant's table.
Would the record reflect he's identified the defendant, Your Honor?
All right. The record will so reflect.
And what is your relationship to him?
Brother-in-law.
Are you married to his sister?
Yes, sir.
Direct directing your attention to the late evening of October 29, 1990. Were you home that night?
Yes, sir.
And was Bruce Fleming's wife, Kathleen Fleming, at your house?
Yes, sir.
Did she participate in a telephone conversation that you saw or heard?
She was on the phone. I don't know what she said.
Okay. After that conversation, did you get a couple of phone calls?
Yes, sir.
How many?
2.
And who was on the other end?
Bruce Fleming.
And what happened in the first conversation?
In the first conversation, he wanted to talk to Kathy, but she and my wife had put me on the spot to answer the phone, which I did. He said he wanted to talk to her, but she said she did not want to talk to him, and I told him so. And then I think that was about the end of that conversation.
Okay, and then in the second conversation, what happened?
Well, Bruce called back and insisted he talk to Kathy, and I told him again that she did not want to talk to him, and she didn't have to if she didn't want to. Then he said he was going to get his shotgun and come after her, and so I hung up.
And then what happened after that?
About 5 or 10 minutes, I suppose. I was in the bathroom. The women were in the den where the television is, and Bruce ran his car into the corner of the building, knocking the TV over and a hole in the wall.
Now, then, did you hear the noise of that impact?
Yes, sir, I did.
Did you get a chance to go out at some time and look at the damage to your house?
Yes, sir, within 3-4 minutes.
And what had happened to your house exactly?
Well, he knocked a hole in it. The nose of the car came through the building.
Did it go right into the inside?
Yes, sir.
And what part of the room had the hole in it?
The corner of the family room.
Was that where the TV was?
Yes, sir.
How much damage was done to that room?
3,700 and something.
Objection, Your Honor. It's irrelevant to the 245 assault with a deadly weapon charge. Damage to the house is totally irrelevant in the charge.
I think I disagree. I will overrule the objection.
Could you repeat that figure?
The insurance company made the estimate. This is not my idea of how much it was. I spent more, but $3,700 on the house, $800 on the television. They replaced the television.
Did you fix the house yourself or have it fixed?
I had it fixed.
What did you pay to have it fixed?
I spent more money than the insurance company gave, but I talked with them that I was going to do other things to the house, and the difference definitely will come out of my pocket. Furthermore, I have not received any money from the insurance company at this time.
I don't think you have answered the question, and try.
Yes.
I just want to know how much money you spent to repair the damage to the house caused by this car.
I don't know.
Well, is it over $1,000?
Oh, yes.
Okay, thank you. After this impact, did you get a chance? Did you go outside the house after the impact?
Yes, sir.
And did you see the car that had hit your house?
Yes.
Did you recognize the car?
Yes, sir.
Whose car was it?
Bruce Fleming's.
Do you know what kind of car it was?
Volvo.
Okay. And you indicate it hit the corner of the family room where the TV was. Was the car resting on grass, on lawn, or on pavement, or a driveway, or what?
The nose of the car was about 2 feet off the ground inside the building. The rest of the car was on the rocks and walkway in front of the building.
Does that walkway go to a door in the house, or
Yes, sir.
which door is that?
The front door.
And how far from the driveway was the car?
25 feet. Oh, excuse me, sir. I think it was that far from the street. All right, any questions on the 160? All right. How's it look? Do we all talk? Yes, yes. All right, this looks good for 140.
Okay.
Oh,
Street.
We'll get into that.
Wow.
Is that enough?
That's when we start writing.
Which door is that, Kristen?
But I ended right there, we'd have to start over. All right, let's do the same people. So plaintiff, Mr. Keeney. Defense is Mr. Seofield. And we still have Mr. Fleming. We had Officer Harris, Harris. First Street, first is written out.
So you guys all using that question in the okay? I say it almost every time. What is it? What is it, Jess?
You hit your okay at the same time with the question.
Did you hear that? With your question sign, you hit okay at the same time? And they'll be writing 300 in no time. All right, so we have a shotgun and a television and garbage cans. Here's some more driveways. And skarks for skid marks. Mr. Elkins, Elkins, and that's that. All right, 140 Q&A now.
Line 10, is that where we started?
Line, yeah, I'll just change that.
Okay. All right, I am plaintiff's attorney, Mr. Keeney, Keeney.
I am the witness.
I am the court.
I am for defense, Mr. Schofield, Schofield.
Okay, this is the 140, starts with question by me, plaintiff's attorney. And how far from the driveway was the car?
Like I said, 20 or 25 feet, because I think it was that far from the street. The driveway had the car parked in it. It was about 5 feet.
Okay, would that be on the right side of the car or the left?
It would be on the right side.
Does that mean that no part of the car was resting on the driveway?
No, sir, none of it.
Okay. Now, how soon after the collision did you get out in the area of your front yard or the front of your house?
3 or 4 minutes.
And did you see Mr. Fleming at that time?
No,
Did you see him at any later time?
no,
Did you tell Officer Harris, the gentleman seated next to me, that you saw Bruce Fleming approximately 100 feet away, walking south on First Street, and then he started to run?
I don't believe I told him that, but another couple told me that, but I didn't see him.
Okay, so you didn't see him at all?
No.
Okay,
I would move to strike that part where he said that another couple told him that. That's, I'm sure, hearsay.
All right, that will be stricken.
Thank you.
do you know the name of those people you spoke to?
No, I don't.
Do you know where they live?
Yes, sir.
Where do they live?
On First Street, but I don't know the house number.
Okay. Did you get a chance to look at the damage to the television set that had been in the corner?
Yes.
What had happened to the glass in that television set?
I don't believe the front part was broken. Please repeat that.
Was there any damage to the glass in the television set that you could see?
What do you mean glass?
Well, there's a front plate of glass,
Picture 2.
and then there's a picture tube behind it.
No, it wasn't broken.
Did you have to replace that television set?
Yes, sir.
How much did it cost you to replace it?
$1,800.
I have no other questions.
Cross-examine.
Mr. Elkins, you told us you had a phone conversation with Mr. Fleming. He said something about getting a shotgun and come over, right?
Yes, sir.
Did you tell him did you tell him you were going to get your gun too?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, now when you heard that crash, you were in the bathroom?
Yes, sir.
Okay, after you heard the crash, what was the first thing you did? Do you remember?
I ran to the den.
And what did you do in the den?
I unplugged the television because there was smoke coming out of it.
Tell us what you did right after that.
I ran and got my shotgun
Okay, and where was your shotgun? Where did you pick it up?
in the bedroom.
Had you gotten the shotgun out earlier?
No,
Okay, now when you had the shotgun in your hand, what did you do with it?
I ran out the back door and around the garbage cans.
And what did you do after that?
I took it back in the house. No one was out there.
Okay, when you ran out with that shotgun, did you see the car parked out there?
As I went around the corner, I did.
That night, did you ever look inside the car when it was parked there? The car that crashed into your house?
Not until after the police were there, but I didn't get in it then.
Did you see a gun inside the car?
No, I did not.
And you said earlier that you didn't think that any part of that car was on the driveway. Are you sure about that? The back tires weren't on that driveway?
No, sir. Definitely not. Not the back tires.
Was any part of the car on the driveway?
No.
How far? Was it 5 feet away?
From it?
From the closest part of the car, from the driveway to the closest part of that car, how many feet away?
4 or 5 feet.
Notice how many times the question and the okay came up?
Did you get it?
Well, I think, Jesse, you gave me the sheet, right? With all of, I think I put it on our webpage.
Gave it to her, your favorite.